I hereby state I don't like being on camera. I don't like it whatsoever. But time after time after time, you have to push yourself. And I'm gonna push myself. I'm gonna showcase something, maybe, but I don't like being on camera. Relatively speaking, I'm chaotic. My mind's chaotic. Everything I tend to do tends to be chaotic, but it's very sharp and honed. You know, I played all types of sports growing up. I did a lot of things growing up, but I'm chaotic. We either make it or we don't make it. I told myself that a lot as a kid. Had a lot of things, a lot of great things too. A lot of great things happened too when I was younger. And then I made choices. I made a lot of choices. I started living very fast. I seen a lot of things early, did a lot of things early, and I'm like, people like, oh, well, what do you want to do here? I don't fucking know. I think my life is like a side mission or some shit. Like side stories and all of that. It's like, oh, we'll figure it out. We figure it out as we go. Yeah. Until I learned to actually start planning stuff. Some things are calculated. Some things stop and become like a priceless work of art. They stay still and they stay inside of a case, and everybody just comes there, but they don't travel to another home to be put into. They just stay there. At one point in my life, that's what happened to me. Like fucking Cage, man. I had all this potential when I was younger. I could have, you know, gotten my scholarships and went somewhere else. I could have did something else, and I still did. I left home early, man. Left home at the right time, but felt early. And I went and did what I was doing. Came back, kept doing what I was doing, living fast, son. The next thing you know, time stopped. I was like a priceless piece of art, just sitting here in limbo, thinking, writing, reading, playing chess, playing shogi, which is still Japanese. It's Japanese chess, but it's still chess nonetheless. You know, then, came to music and, ended up having somebody that actually wanted to talk to me, you know. While everybody else around me left, everybody else around me looked down on me, did all this shit because of, my choices, and I take that on the chin. I'm like, trying something new and understanding something new is something that just not everybody can do. And I'm like, for me, I had to figure it out in a way I never wanted to have to, but I knew eventually this was going to be the route because it was either this or the other way. Shit, I got arrested on something that they legalized 2 years later at that. But even with that being said, I'm like, my cellmate at the time taught me a lot, showed me the world, showed me what I was living in. Because again, I'm like, sometimes you don't know what you in until you take a step back and look at it from a different view. And you start understanding what it is. And I'm like, I realize, I'm like, we grown. And I'm like, nobody wants to live a second childhood, son. Nobody wants to live like you're a teenager again. You only live once. Why live in the same cycle over and over again and think that life is gonna be better? It's not. We all got to figure something out. And I wanted more for myself, so I chose that. That conversation is what shaped me. That conversation is what made me do what I chose to do after I left and got out, honestly speaking. On top of my close friend that I talked to and seen after I got out. Both those conversations is what changed me and made me pivot. All the writing and all the creations and everything I created after that, on top of doing everything else, made me understand that. And not everybody can say that. But realistically speaking, I'm like one of the major people, like Wallow 267. You watch $1 million worth of game, I watch $1 million worth of game. I ain't even gonna hold you. That's what I looked at one point and realized, like, if he can do it, I could do it. You know? Like my dad went through that too. Shit, I looked at him. If he could do it, I could do it. But again, I'm like, just like I think the councilman in Baltimore, it takes a village to raise someone. But what happens when the village is slow? How do you fix that? Shit, only God will know. But Call me Sonny.